Hi everyone. Today I want to show you how to enter current year adjustments and prior period adjustments on a TB that's in Excel. So here I have two trial balances for 2024 and for 2023. So my first thing that I want to do is I want to combine these two trial balances into one sheet, which I have done on this tab. If you're having difficulty lining up your prior year and your current year trial balances, I do have a video that I will share in the description that shows you how to quickly line them up using the xlookup formula. I will also include a link where you can find the completed spreadsheet, so if you would like to, you can download it and follow along as we go. So here's a tip for you. Sometimes you might find the total at the bottom of the trial balance, but I like to put my total at the top. The reason for this is because I would normally freeze the panes, and that way, if your trial balance is lengthy, when you start posting adjustments, you can immediately see if your trial balance goes out of balance. So I'm going to add my total to the top now. Like that, right? So immediately, if I scroll down, and normally your trial balance tends to be pretty long, so if you're scrolling down and you make adjustments and something throws your trial balance out of balance, you'll immediately see it out of balance up here. At the bottom of my trial balance, I like to include a total for profit. That way I can see how my adjustments impact my profit figure. So let's do that now. I'm only going to pick up my P&L accounts. Like that. So we're going to call this profit. So let's start entering adjustments. The temptation is to go in and start adding and minusing figures from inside of your TB. But we do need to maintain a proper audit trail so that if we need to revisit this working paper, we can remember why we adjusted, what we adjusted, and if anybody else is looking at our working paper, they can clearly see the adjustments we would have made and why we made those adjustments. So I'm going to insert a column for my adjustments, and I'm also going to insert another column for the total after adjustments. So I'll call this 2024 adjustments, and I'll call this 2024 final. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to make an adjustment to your current year figure. So let's add across to get the final figure. And now we're going to create our adjustment. So the drawback with entering our adjustments directly in column D is that we don't have space to document exactly what that adjustment relates to. Also, it could get a little bit cumbersome where there is more than one adjustment that affects a single account. So to get around this, we're going to create a designated tab where we can record all of our adjustments and with enough space to provide as much detail as we need to for that particular adjustment. So let's enter our adjustment tab now. We'll create a tab and call it adjustments. And we'll borrow some headers from our TB. And let's say for one of my adjustments in 2024, I used the wrong depreciation rate. So now I have to post an adjustment to adjust it. So here's an example. So I would enter the account number, the description, and the adjustment debits and credits. As usual, I like to put a total at the top so that I can see if my adjustments don't balance. And I'm also including all the rows underneath in case I have additional adjustments. And let's freeze pane so that I can also see immediately should my adjustments go out of balance. Very similar to how I would have set up my trial balance. So we're going to come across into our adjustment column and we're going to enter a sum if formula to pull any adjustments we enter here into our 2024 adjustments column. So we're going to go equal sum if in this range we find this account number, we add up the balances in this range. And then we copy this formula all the way down. And then I also drag across my sum at the top. So immediately I see that my trial balance remains in balance, and if I scroll to the bottom, I can see how that adjustment affects my profit. So for clarity, we can also add a column in the middle here, just so that we can show where the division is between 2023 and 2024 data. And that brings us to the end of adjusting for a current year adjustment. So now we're going to look at adjusting for a prior period adjustment. I'm going to set up my 2023 TB in the very same way I would have set up my 2024 TB to make an adjustment. So I'll have 2023 adjustment, 2023 final, and then I would put a sum here to sum across the figures. It's very similar to what I would have done for 2024, and copy that all the way down. I'm extending now my totals to show me the impact on profit, as well as at the top to ensure that I can see if anything goes out of balance. So I'm going to borrow a header again from my balance sheet, and I'm going to put it next to 2024 on my adjustment tab. So let's say in prior year I had to record a prepayment that was recorded in expenses incorrectly. So let's enter that adjustment now. So you'll see my debit to prepayments, my credit to office expenses, to record prepayment made in 2023. And instead of it now being in column 2024, we're going to document the adjustment in the 2023 adjustment column. So we're going to come across on our TB, and we're going to enter our sum if formula. We're going to sum if these accounts if we find this account number in column E, because that's where the 2023 adjustments are recorded. And we're just going to copy that all the way down. So now we see that our trial balance is still in balance because this is still equal to 0, and the impact our adjustment in 2023 had on our profit. We haven't quite finished adjusting for a prior period adjustment. This is because any adjustment made in the prior period is also going to affect current year. So any adjustment we make in 2023 is going to affect 2024 opening balances. To reflect this, we're going to edit the formula that's in column D, the 2024 adjustment column. Any adjustment made to my closing balance sheet figure in 2023 flows directly into my closing balance sheet figure for 2024. So I'm just going to come in 2024 for my balance sheet accounts and simply add my 2023 adjustment. Like that. And I'm going to do this, copy this down for all my balance sheet accounts. Any adjustment made to my 2023 P&L accounts don't roll into the same 2024 P&L accounts. Instead, it affects opening retained earnings in 2024. So I'm going to go into my 2024 retained earnings adjustment, and I'm going to edit that now to include all the adjustments made to my P&L account in 2023. So now I can do a quick check to make sure my trial balance still balances, and this is the impact on profit of my prior period adjustment as well as my current period adjustment. That brings us to the end of updating our prior year adjustment. Now, any adjustment you make on this adjustment tab is going to automatically update into your TB because this summit formula picks up the entire of column D and the entire of column E from your adjustment tab. So let's demonstrate this quickly. If, for example, I had to make another adjustment to prepayments, I'm going to put $1 million just to make it visible. If I come here, I can clearly see that in 2024, it's been adjusted. If it was a prior adjustment, I just put it across here. And when we go across to the combined TB, you'll notice that the prepayment tab, the prepayments and the office expenses in 2023 have been updated, as well as the opening return earnings for 2024. As mentioned earlier in the video, I would leave a link in the description where you can download the completed worksheet. Thank you for watching. Bye.